We need to talk about Jeff Shi and Fosun. The main man was at the game yesterday, the Arsenal defeat. Zhao, he comes over very, very rarely, and there's been a really interesting comment on my last video from a bloke called DylanWolf. He sits in the Billy right stand. I believe he's a season ticket holder, and he's not actually sticking up for Fosun. But what I really liked about his comment on my last video is he's offering the devil's advocate with Fosun. Obviously, they had the chants towards them in the Arsenal game, very half-arsed chants. But we need to talk about them because some people still stick up for them, Fosun and Jeff Shi. But I'm going to read his comment out, give my thoughts to it, and see what you think. I think we need to talk about it. He put, "I'm not a fan of Fosun. They promised more and haven't delivered in terms of success. Let's call that regular European involvement. But by the same token, I don't accuse them of purposely running the club into the ground. We fans directing all our frustration at them is pretty pointless, isn't it? The barrage of Fosun screamers should take stock of a few facts. Wolves have signed 25 players in the past 3 years. He reels them all off. I'll get them on screen here. And we've also sold and given free transfers to 27 players. Again, I'll put the list of those there on your screen. Now, I may be wrong, but I don't think Fosun actually decide who we buy and sell. They just set the budget that maybe a big list of poor purchases and sales is in your eyes, but no one has a crystal ball when it comes to the future reform of players, except fans, of course, who always knew and know everything with certainty. Wolves have not yet released their financial results of the 23-24 season. Over the past 3 financial years, Wolves have reported consecutive net losses. 18.4 million in 2021, 46.1 million in 21-22, and 67 million in 22-23. According to reports, these financial challenges are attributed to significant investments in players, acquisitions, increased or operating costs, and fluctuating revenues from broadcast and matchday activities. Despite these losses, the club remains committed to complying with the Premier League's profit and sustainability regulations. By these official figures, which I imagine are independently audited are submitted to HMRC, Wolves make a loss, not a profit, every season. So Fosun do invest in players, and number 2, Fosun do not make millions out of running Wolves. The Fosun out parrot cry may be comforting narrative in that it identifies an evil culprit for us being 17th in the table at the moment, but taken into context, it's meaningless. Fosun do back the team. Whether they do that well or not is a matter of opinion. If they walk away, Wolves are finished. If they sell, who knows if their owner would do better. Plus, there is no visible queue of potential buyers. No billionaire's magic fairy godmother awaits. Fosun are a business. They own Wolves. They run the club. They have done for 8.5 years. The financial decisions, yes, are up to them. The footballing decisions are not. Like it or not, Fosun are currently our Wolves. Let me repeat. If Fosun decide that the abuse they are getting is not worth the candle and they walk away without there being a buyer, then that is it. The end. The padlocks are fitted on Molyneux and the club goes into liquidation. Be careful what you wish for. DylanWolf in the Billy Quiet. Bit dramatic at the end, but I get his point. But I kind of, look, he's made some good points there when you look at the facts. But my response to that would be, Jeff Shi does not know much about football. I know he's owned Wolves for 8 years now, but when he come in, he openly admitted he knew hardly anything. He promised us the world when he first come in, saying we were going to be competing with the likes of Man City. Yes, he retracted those statements. But after the first few years, we were heavily linked with George Mendes, as we know, the super agent. We had Laurie Dalrymple, Kevin Felwell, so we had good football people around him, Jeff Shi did. And as we know, when it hit COVID and Nuno left and Raul Jimenez got that injury, and then they decided to switch to the self-sustain model and the sell-to-buy model, because they looked at the likes of Brighton and thought, we can do this, because we'd been so successful in the first few years. They just thought, yeah, we'll be able to do this. We've pumped loads in, we don't want to pump in anymore. But the fingers of Brighton, their chairman, Tony Bloom, who I don't know, but I've known about him for years. He's a high-stakes gambler, high-stakes poker player. He owns like a business where him and loads of these professional stat people look into football players and football form and the stats of the game, and they like run like a profitable like betting tips company, and they earn loads betting on football just off pure stats. So when they've always got managers lined up, and when they always find these absolute gems of players, they and they know what they're doing, and they've got proper football men around them at Brighton. We haven't. Jeff Shi got rid of Falwell, Dalrymple, replaced him with like Scott Sellers, thought he could do all the jobs himself and thought it was easy. And like he put his life on the line and really backed Fabio Silva. Now the jury's still out on him, but he pumped all this money into a young player. and he ended up flopping for us time and time again. Yes, he's doing okay now at Las Palmas, scoring against Real Madrid and Barcelona, but that's just an example. So although we're selling our best players and bringing in these potentials, some of them work out. João Gomez, for example, what a signing. Max Kilman. But we always sell our best players for all this money, and we are trying to buy on the cheap. And I get his point, DylanWolf, about the amount of players we've brought, let go and brought in. It's similar. But the players we brought in are never as good as the ones we let go. We let go of Jota. We let go of even Matt Doherty back in the day when we let go of him when he was in flying form. I know he's come back and he's not the same player he was. But there's so many examples. Obviously, Raul Jimenez, although he was at the end of his career. Neves, he stayed a bit longer. But we always get rid of our best players. Now we're going to get rid of Cunha. We got rid of Neto. We're probably going to get rid of Aït-Nouri. João Gomez will eventually go. So we are now where we are because of this self-sustained model. And because they're not willing to pump money in. You have to pump about £100 million in every summer as a Premier League football club just to compete. And we're not doing that. Over the last few seasons, we've recruited millions in. Millions. Max Kilman Neto sales. And we only spent a little bit back. And if we keep doing that, we've been circling and circling and circling relegation. And we're just going to go. And this season it could happen. If it's not this season, it'll be next. And we keep promising managers we're going to get players in. Like this window right now. They're promising Vitor Pereira they're going to get 2 more players in. That was what he said in his recent press conference. It won't happen. So for me personally, I think Fosun need to sell the club. Hopefully it'll be to someone who's willing to put hundreds of millions into the club. Obviously that's wishful thinking. But if Fosun stay, we're just going to go down. It's no matter of time. And I believe they won't invest in the Championship like they did when they first joined us to get us back up. And this self-sustained model, it could work if we had a Tony Bloom as our chairman or a really clever footballing man. But we haven't got that. They don't know that much about football, Jeff Shi and that. And they've done amazing things the first few seasons. But I do think now it's time for them to go, unless they change their mind and start spending a lot of money and backing the managers they have in. Thanks for watching. Please like the video. Please subscribe. And I'll catch you next one. And give me your thoughts in the comments of what you think of the thoughts on Fosun and Jeff Shi. Cheers, everyone.